A man was standing over another man. The man on the floor was cosplaying an ancient warrior who died by an arrow. The man standing was wearing a mask depicting a 1930s clown in black and white colors. The standing man helped the other man remove the cosplay, which led to him having a red fountain on his forehead. He then walked away like the Hulk after a win. On another side of the building, Yuri was wondering as she couldn't reach her mom or dad. She eventually got through to her brother and started lamenting to him like a little girl. He calmed her down and explained things to her. As they were talking, Yuri heard screams and saw someone with a mask hunting another lady like an animal in the jungle. Soon after, the lady being chased took the choice of unaliving and decided to act out how it will feel to be like a raindrop. After seeing that, Yuri calmed herself down and listened while her brother gave her instructions. However, a bear-like humanoid object was inching its way like a worm towards her. Yuri turned around as soon as she noticed, and it turned out to be the man who helped the cosplayer who attacked her with his Zanpakuto. He smashed her phone with the sword and threw it over the edge. Yuri then stood up with a superhero pose. She then ran for her life and moved to climb the ropes connecting the buildings together. The Soul Reaper in turn came after her, and she continued her walk on the bridge. The man caught her as she got to the second building, but before he could do anything, he got President Kennedy treatment and got shot from afar, this time by a police officer. After the successful kill, the officer turned and checked if Yuri was okay. Just then, his partner named Mizushita came from the other side. Yuri was thankful that she met other people. Moments later, Mizushita pushed his partner and he fell like a mango tree to the ground. Mizushita then turned to Yuri with a sneaky look in his eyes while holding a katana. As this went on, there was a masked guy in the other buildings having a smoke. Mizushita began to bully Yuri. Just as she was about to lose all sense of dignity, the masked smoker shot Mizushita with a sniper rifle. He tried to shoot Yuri, but she quickly ran for safety behind a wall. Just as she escaped the sniper, she met a female mask who pressured her to jump. Yuri made a show of jumping but just fell to a lower ledge. As the masked lady came to check, Yuri shot her, but she still couldn't kill her, but just ended up shooting off her mask. The lady then told her that she was being controlled by the mask. The mask then gave her a final command to jump, which she did. This made Yuri realize that the masks were human too. She was heartbroken but decided to survive no matter what. As she left, she felt hungry. Just as she made the turn, she saw a bag full of food provisions. She took the bag and began her journey into the center of the world. As she began, an helicopter flew overhead. As she looked, one of the bridge suspension broke and she almost died, but she made it safely. Her first encounter was with a woman who had painted the wall behind her. She then saw a set of instructions detailing how she can leave. As she read it, she heard a man calling for help. Yuri rushed to save him, but she saw that it was a human doing the shooting. Yuri came out and became a natural sharpshooter and shot the gun out of the strange lady's hand. She asked them to talk, but the strange lady just took her knife and finished the job. The lady turned her focus on Yuri, but she started crying. The lady called for a ceasefire, but before she could say anything, the masked sniper appeared and Yuri saved the lady, who introduced herself as Mayuko Nice. The sniper soon shot them using the skills he learnt at the mask training camp and shot them with the bullet ricochet on the knife lying on the floor. Mayuko thought of leaving Yuri, but she decided to stay a bit to prove a point. The two girls ran up the stairs and the mask tried to follow them. As he climbed the stairs, a grenade came from above and landed in his front. He then went separate ways like a pinata. As they came down to see the results of their labor, Yuri thanked Mayuko, and they agreed to let Mayuko take the helicopter that goes out since it only takes one person. As they were saying their goodbyes, they heard the sound of the helicopter starting and began to run up to the roof. In the corner of the hallway, the masked sniper is lying there with his mask cracked and his suit rumpled like he rolled in the dirt. The girls made their way to the top and saw that the craft had taken off. Yuri shot at the copter and they turned around and shot back like grumpy teenagers with guns. As this was going on, the masked sniper returned his room and freshened up like James Bond. He has regained control of a part of his brain with the crack. As he left, he came across a mask that tried to kill him, but he defended himself. Meanwhile, Yuri was remembering how she got to this alternate world. She soon woke from her sleep and dressed up to leave. She wondered where the change of clothes came from but took it off her mind. As she stared out the window, she saw a mask looking at her like someone looked at a crush. She ran outside to escape. Unfortunately, Mayuko was in the restroom not far away and wondered where Yuri left to. She looked behind her and saw 3 masks chasing her. One of them came on the bridge and fell for the trap she made. The other 2 chased after her. Just before they caught her, Mayuko came to save her, but she was able to shoot one person. The last mask standing then attacked Mayuko, cutting her, but Yuri got hold of the gun and used the extra magazine she had to finish him off. They tried to ask the masked guy questions before he died, but he took a vow of silence and slept finally while Yuri and Mayuko wondered what kind of world they are in. After the experience with the masks, Yuri proposed that she and Mayuko become allies, which she agreed to. She then broke the masks so that nobody wore them. Just then, Mayuko brought out her phone to check the time. Yuri, with the strength of the Hulk, asked to borrow the phone and call her elder brother. After a few rings, he picked up and Yuri was happy. She then recounted all that happened to her brother, who then guessed her location. He then promised to come and save her. Moments after, her brother asked her to shoot Mayuko. This got her suspicious like Sherlock Holmes. Yuri refused and the plan switched from rescue to helicopter attack. He promised to treat her to ramen as an apology. After she returned the phone, she hugged Mayuko for imagining something weird. But their minds went to different schools of thought. Meanwhile, at another building, Yuri's brother Rika was defending himself from a mask attack. He used his hammer like Thor and made the mask's head a tomato. He then met up with some of his allies and they moved to meet the others. Just as they were about to go, one of the masks was pitching cannonballs like they were ordinary balls. It killed one of them and Rika took the other and ran. They tried to escape through an emergency exit, but it was a dead end. Rika decided to face him head on. As the mask showed himself, Rika chose to play baseball and use his hammer as a bat. The ball missed and Rika's ally shot the lights and he used his hammer to break the mask. After a close fight, the mask died, but not before mentioning something about being god of the realm like Goku. Rika continued to plan the helicopter attack plan, while Yuri was on another rooftop taking a makeshift bath with a washcloth and water. Yuri and Mayuko soon stopped to rest in the garden nearby. The masked sniper was taking out random players with his gun like in Call of Duty. As he was about to move to another location, he was stopped by a girl. Before he could shoot the girl, the mask commanded him to stop. The masked sniper still had his gun pointed at the lady, but the system commanded him not to shoot. The system also explained his role as an angel in bringing the humans in the facility close to God. The lady, who introduced herself as Kyuon Shinzaki, was surprised to hear the sniper talk, and was shedding tears of joy. As the sun rose in the sky, Yuri was on guard duty and saw a seemingly harmless mask come and drop off a bag. Soon after, Mayuko woke up and Yuri showed her the contents of the bag, including a very pretty knife that Mayuko asked to keep with a loving look on her face. Rika, on the other hand, called Yuri on his phone and Mayuko picked up since she was sleeping and dreaming about food. Rika decided to trust Mayuko and shared his plan with her to share with Yuri when she wakes up. However, as that was happening, a masked guy looking like a guest of Top Chef was looking at Mayuko with binoculars. He also held a saw in his hand and declared that Mayuko would be the next ingredient in his next delicacy. Simultaneously, Kyuon and the masked sniper have formed a team with Kyuon's plea. He offered to help her search for the girls he almost unalived. The girls, however, had moved to another building to search for allies. Yuri was getting flustered, but Mayuko channeled her inner Dave Chappelle and made a joke that made Yuri feel better. Just as they were about to leave with Yuri in front, the chef mask appeared by the edge and masterfully maneuvered Mayuko into the lower floor like Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible. Yuri looked back and couldn't find Mayuko. She got worried and started searching for her. Mayuko, on the other hand, was trying to exploit the mask rule, but Chef Mask told her that his mask came with a defect and he can kill her. Mayuko then decided to fight him and conquer like she had done before. Chef Guy attacked, but before he could complete it, Yuri shot him from behind by pulling a trick she learnt from reading novels. After the battle, Yuri and Mayuko saw advertisement on the walls and decided to check it out. Kyuon and the sniper also saw the flyer and thought that it won't hurt to try. Yuri and Mayuko sought out the place but were attacked by other humans who wanted to use them as mask lab rats. They were rescued by a very strong mask who turned their heads into one-shot bowling pins. The strong mask then turned on Yuri and Mayuko after exhausting all the attackers. Yuri told Mayuko to run, but instead she chose to sacrifice herself and wear a mask. Yuri couldn't believe her eyes as Mayuko became a mask. After a long Joker-like laugh, Mayuko then launched an attack, but it was at the rider. She made him hands-free with one swing of her knife. The rider was surprised at the attack and launched a punch with his other hand. Mayuko dodged the punch, but it grazed and smashed her mask, revealing that she was sane. She wore the defective mask of Mr. Chef Guy. The mask rider was angry and launched a barrage of one-armed punches, but Mayuko dodged them and launched her own. Yuri helped and they used a WrestleMania tag team technique to cut his side with the knife. With his dying breath, he begged the girls to put an end to this depressing world and they agreed. As they were about to leave, they were blocked by a man who introduced himself as Sashio Tanabe, who told them that his purpose is to eliminate all the god candidates. They didn't understand what he was going on about. He then recounted his experience with a god candidate and a mask and how he was tasked to kill other god candidates. They agreed to help him defeat the candidate and followed him. Kyuon and the sniper mask were eavesdropping and watched them leave. Sashio and the girls soon met with the god candidate, Kazuma Aihara. Sashio blurted out their powers like a noob and Kazuma commanded his personal mask to kill them. His mask flew from the ledge like Wonder Woman and launched her attack with her sword. Mayuko moved to block and they began fighting. As the fight continued, Sashio wanted to avenge his family, but he got poked like a grilled chicken instead. The fight continued with the mask getting tired. Just as Mayuko was about to go in for the final blow, Kazuma called his second hidden mask, but Yuri shot it before it could do anything. Kazuma was surprised that someone saw through his strategy and he fell to his knees. As this happened, Kyuon and the sniper were observing from the building beside them. Kyuon soon got an inspiration and sent a text from her phone that powered up the tallest tower. It shot a beam that destroyed the building next to them. Kazuma saw this and thought that it was Yuri that did that. Yuri decided to play that to her advantage and put on her acting shoes to deliver an Oscar-worthy performance. Kazuma knelt down in repentance and promised to give up on being God. Mayuko was surprised and happy. Sashio was still alive and Yuri told Kazuma to treat him. In the distance, Rika and his ally were surprised at the weapon in the building. After the whole ordeal was over, Sniper and Kyuon sat down to eat. Kyuon was worried about how handsome Sniper was under the mask. Meanwhile, Rika and his ally met a mask who had just saved a lady from other masks. He then spoke to the one controlling the mask. They exchanged pleasantries and the controller explained how he became a god candidate. Yuri and Mayuko soon left Sashio in the care of Kazuma. On their way, Mayuko fell into a waking dream and was hearing the system voice, but Yuri's voice jolted her awake. Yuri then informed her of the plan to go to one of the large buildings. On their way, they heard a cry and rushed towards it. Mayuko was still having waking visions with the mask trying to take over her brain. The girls soon got to a library-style room where they were soon locked in a battle with a bat-wielding mask. The masked batter hit Mayuko like a baseball, but they were saved in the end by Sniper Mask. He had no intention of attacking them but they fled anyway. After the shootout, Sniper explained to Kyuon his connection to Rika and she shed tears of sorrow. This made a part of Sniper's memory come back and he remembered how he got the mask on. Meanwhile, Mayuko was in deep thought as she and Yuri continued their journey. They soon got to a building that brought back memories. Mayuko fell down as her body won't move and Yuri rushed to care for her. As she was caring for her, a masked person appeared and attacked, but Yuri dispatched of the attacker. Mayuko then told Yuri of the mask trying to take control of her brain. Mayuko tried to jump off but she was possessed by the system which put her under hibernation like a PC as she couldn't fulfill her commands. As this happened, a sad-faced masked lady appeared behind Yuri with an assault rifle in her hand. The masked lady warned Yuri not to attack and then she explained what was happening with Mayuko. The lady then gave Yuri a solution, that she must become a god candidate to save her friend. Yuri accepted and put Mayuko in a room to go and get the mask. Soon after, Kyuon and the sniper discovered Mayuko in the room she was in and Kyuon tried to save her at personal cost to herself. She began the process and appeared as a character in Mayuko's mind like a character in Sword Art Online. The mask program tried to fight her but she overpowered it with her god powers. The system obeyed her orders and she saved Mayuko. Meanwhile, Yuri was at the side of a building climbing without support like in Mission Impossible. She was soon followed by a mask who tried to inject her with something foul. This made Yuri scream for help. Yuri tried to free herself from the hands of the masked guy with the needle, and succeeded. She then found the box where the god candidate mask was and put it on as the mask attacked. The mask then installed basic functions that allowed Yuri to act as the Flash and become faster than her attacker. She then threw him off the roof with strength that rivaled Superman. After her battle ended, Yuri put on the mask again and the system downloaded the needed programs in her head. It also included a built-in AI assistant. The brain chat GPT explained what being a god candidate entailed. The system required her to unlock her ability with her own power based on the ones she's compatible with. Everything depended on her power. The installation process ended with the final act to destroy the god mask, thus sealed Yuri's fate as a god candidate. Yuri then started to run back and meet Mayuko, but she received a call from Mayuko that explained everything about her being saved by a god candidate. After the call, Mayuko looked at Kyu-on with predator eyes and she fell back scared like a supporting manga character. Meanwhile, Yuri returned back to the building where Mayuko is. As this was going on, Rika and his allies were attacked by a group of masks when they got to the tall building. Rika, however, was able to defend against their attack and gave the rest orders, but some of them chose to escape. As Rika was defending against the masks, he almost got overpowered by one of them, but he was helped by a mask dressed like a medieval England man. They prepared for an attack just as more masks gathered to attack them. Rika was losing lots of blood from his injury and fell down and passed out like he was under the influence of drugs. Rika's team soon got overpowered and he was kidnapped by a stripper-looking masked guy. The rest of the team reported what happened to Yuri. She broke the phone in anger and unleashed her power like a low-budget Iren. Her mind was fixated on looking for her brother. Mayuko tried her line again, but it wasn't connecting. She became worried and went to look for Yuri. As she was climbing the bridge, a mask with a grenade launcher shot at her, but she was saved by Sniper Mask. He then shot at the assailant, but his bullet was repelled by a Johnny Cage-looking mask guy. The grenade launcher mask prepared to shoot Mayuko again and Sniper Guy prepared to defend her. Just before they could shoot, Yuri shot the grenade launcher mask, saving Mayuko. The grenade launcher mask wasn't dead and he shot his launcher randomly, but Yuri used her flash powers to destroy the shells. Grenade launcher mask was then unalived by Sniper Mask. The Johnny Cage mask quickly lay down to avoid being shot. He then called base to report what was going on. However, before he could report, he was shot by Sniper Mask, who channeled his inner Ethan Hunt and climbed the side of the building to shoot. After the fight, Yuri and Kyu-on finally met each other and she delivered a message from Sniper Mask. Yuri was surprised with the level of control and Kyu-on wished her powers were stronger. The two god candidates then formed an alliance and left the fight scene. Meanwhile, Rika was being taken to meet a god candidate as an hostage. The god candidate introduced himself as Mamoru Aikawa. They shared tea while the Aikawa shared his plan of conquering the weak like every world dictator in history. Rika thought of taking the candidate out, but Aikawa revealed his intention of recruiting him. Rika, however, asked for time to think about it. Soon after, Aikawa soon had one of his masks put a sickle round his neck like a blade of rice. Rika decided not to underestimate him and they both went to the rooftop. On their way, Rika thought of killing him, but the number of guards stopped him. On the rooftop, they waited for the helicopter to take them to the tallest tower. Meanwhile, Yuri shared the news with Kyu-on and Mayuko. As they were talking, the helicopter arrived and headed to the helipad. However, the helicopter changed course and landed on the pad near Rika and the candidate. The door opened to show a military mask who waved at them and ordered the copter to retreat. The helicopter landed at a different place and Aikawa explained the concept of a guardian angel to Rika. Soon after, Aikawa split his team into two and soon left to go back into the building. As they got back inside, another talking mask lady, Kusakabe, arrived and Aikawa told her to go and question Rika. But before she left, he went to lay his head on her plots and complain like a child. Meanwhile, at the top of a nearby building, Sniper Mask was checking out his attackers' phones and found out that he couldn't operate it. Soon after, he crossed the bridge wondering what he was like a newly sentient robot. He heard a gun cock and moved to dodge the bullet. He soon prepped his gun and they started to exchange bullets and dodge them like ninjas. His attacker shot the bridge and it cut. Yuri and the girls heard the shots and they came up with a plan to save Sniper Mask. Meanwhile, while hanging off the bridge rope, Sniper Mask taunted his attacker into trying to give him a headshot. As this was happening, Kyu-on was prepping the railgun at the tallest tower. Just before it launched, one of Kazuma's masks, Ein, came out and sliced the attacker's gun in two. They soon began fighting and Ein was pushed back with a Chuck Norris type kick. This gave Sniper Mask enough time to get to safety and return fire. The attacker was outnumbered and ran away. Just then, Kazuma showed up and petting his mask. Soon, they went to join Sashio and another boy that just joined them. The attacker reported back to Aikawa and they planned their next phase. After the fight, the girls moved to enter the building where Mayuko and Kyu-on went to touch up their powder in the ladies' room. In the toilet, Mayuko asked Kyu-on some questions of a personal nature, and she accidentally revealed that she was the one controlling the railgun tower. As Yuri waited, a wounded mask came into the hallway and Yuri pointed her weapon at it. The girls heard a gunshot and ran out to see Yuri getting tossed like vegetables and rice. The mask had amazing strength, and the combined fighting of Yuri and Mayuko was enough to bring it down. Just then, Sniper Mask arrived, but Yuri still had PTSD from their first fight. Soon after, Kazuma and Sashio arrived and they introduced the newcomer Izuki to her nearby. Kyuan told Sniper Mask that Rika was a hostage of one of the god candidates. The interrogation between Kusakabe and Rika started with Rika being a man of few words. Kusakabe was able to detect whether he was lying or not, so Rika planned to deflect attention away from Yuri. Kusakabe soon received a call that Sniper Mask was a threat. The message disturbed Rika, but he had his poker face on. After she dropped the call, Kusakabe asked Rika about his relationship with Sniper Mask. Seeing his words didn't work, Kusakabe began Operation Teasing, but Rika channeled his inner Goku and went on an amazing monologue run. He succeeded in putting the pressure on Sniper Mask, but he didn't know that he was with his sister. Soon after, rain began to fall, which surprised everyone. Kazuma used that time to appeal for help from the girls, and they agreed. A call came in on Mayuko's phone, with her then delivering a secret message to Yuri, who quickly went upstairs to attend to important matters. They soon arrived upstairs with Sniper Mask asking to see Yuri alone before he entered hibernation completely. She agreed and the meeting began. Sniper Mask then revealed that he was a friend of his brother's but cannot remember much. As this was happening, Rika's former squad make plans to rescue him. Soon after, Sniper Mask soon offered Yuri a chance to look at his actual face, which he did, and was pleasantly surprised that he passed all standards. However, before they could complete their conversation, Sniper Mask went into hibernation. Soon after, Kyuan and Mayuko went on a separate mission to free Sniper Mask from his hibernation inside his mind, while Yuri braced herself for what was to come. The girls succeeded in getting into Sniper Mask's dream in the form of a football field in a big town. They began to walk and saw different tall buildings. Soon after, a young boy showed up and introduced himself as Sniper Mask, or Makoto Yu. I soon got to a field where the system apparition was seated with a young Rika. Kyuan defeated the program and freed him from most of the system's commands. Moments after, Yuri heard a scream and went to investigate. But as she got there, a couple of masks just finished giving a girl's head and body some space apart. Yuri moved to avenge her, but the masks were smart and evaded some of Yuri's attacks, but she was able to eventually overcome. After the battle, Yuri was tired, but in the corner, a mask was hiding and sending a message. The mask soon came out to fight for Aikawa. He soon began a barrage of throwing knives and gave Yuri no chance to rest. Yuri attacked by returning one of his knives to his hand. That got him distracted long enough for Mayuko to subdue him. She removed his mask and he was spitting nonsense until Yuri's gun was pointed to his head. The masked man then began a rendition worthy of being in a German war rally. Meanwhile, Kusakabe was still keeping watch over unconscious Rika. She then remembered her first encounter with Aikawa's weapon of justice. As this was happening, Ain had gotten Aikawa's location and was sending pictures of their actions as she could find. When Rika awoke, Kusakabe and a few others went on a mission. Yuri also got updates of where her brother was from Kazuma. She also got information on the mask's movements. Soon after, Kazuma himself came to report his findings from experimenting on the captured mask. He tested it on Yu, but it didn't seem to work. Yu then confirmed its usefulness. Soon after, Kyuan woke up to Yu bringing her food to eat. He informed her of their plans and she was ready to go through with it. She began eating but became self-conscious from Yu looking at her. Kazuma and the rest of the crew were also eating pizza from God knows where. In the rest room, Yuri was freshening up, and others were also finishing up their pre-fight rituals and were waiting on the masks to come. Soon after, they arrived and Yu recognized the Lady Mask as the one who forced the mask on him without his consent. Yu took the first shot but missed as he found out that the woman was Izuki's mother. Before he could take another shot, she threw smoke grenades and covered the area in smoke. Everyone took their battle stations, including a weak-looking mask. Aikawa said the keywords and activated him like the Winter Soldier. He then transformed from skinny to bodybuilder buff. Aikawa then pitted him against the Sniper Mask and his group. Mayuko and Ain chased after the newly buff mask while Yuri stayed to face the almost nude mask. On a nearby building, Guardian Angel watched with her gun in hand like an American. Kusakabe was in turmoil since she heard Izuki's voice. Yu tried to shoot at the buff mask, but he caught the bullet and continued his ascent. He soon made his way inside the building from the window. On the rooftop, Kyuan was scared, but Yu calmed her down and she cried in his arms like a princess. In the break room, the buff mask was enjoying leftover pizza but was attacked by Ain, who was bested by the buff mask. He was about to finish her off but stopped when he saw that he was ambushed. Kazuma then decided to use his 1-second freezing power, which enabled them to land 2 slices on his body. After seeing that, the buff mask took a bullet from his shoe and shot it with his hands into Kazuma's neck. Mayuko stayed back as Ain took Kazuma for treatment. He tried to get help from the system, but she had to buy time, but he was just too fast for her to fall. Just as he was about to launch another attack, Sashio appeared holding a spear like a Chinese monk. Mayuko used that gap to escape until she was able to buy enough time. She soon activated the weapon just as Sashio got defeated with just a finger. The buff mask felt the power and soon got attached by a faster Mayuko, her main motivation being the feelings she has for Yuri. Meanwhile, Yuri broke her attacker's mask and gave him a bullet dessert. Yuri went to help Mayuko, but she didn't need any help as she was slowing the buff mask down bit by bit. Kyuon couldn't stop shaking in fear and she was calming herself down by imagining herself and Yu the masked sniper getting married. Yu soon got the position of the buff mask and Kyuon launched her railgun laser at the location. The bullet took out the rest of the building. Kyusuke wanted to report back to Aikawa but was stopped by Yu. Mayuko narrowly missed the bullet by jumping on the next building. She then saw that the buff mask guy also survived the blast, but he took damage in his organs. Just as he was about to finish off the tired Mayuko, Yuri jumped from above like a Marvel Avenger and used her guns as clubs for the mask's head, which made him fall down. Just then, her ability to control masks was unlocked and she was able to control the buff mask. She chose to shoot him, but Sashio came to plead in his stead. Yuri then decided to seal his powers like Ichigo and control him. This brought an end to the battle with both sides suffering losses. After the battle, Yuri strengthened her resolve to fight against the rule of the world with her friends.